Moderna has been a key player on the COVID-19 vaccine front all year long, but oddly, its stock price has plunged 35% in the past 3 months. Let's check with Oppenheimer senior biotech analyst Hartaj Singh, who covers Moderna. Hartaj, always nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Perhaps you could break down for us what is happening with Moderna shares here.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. Thanks, everyone, for having me. And I apologize again, my connection is not optimal, phone connection. The thing with Moderna is really simple. It's been going on since the second quarter, since the second quarter call, where people are looking at the forward estimates, of the stock and thinking about what they're going to do in revenues in 2022 and 2023, and when that tails off, or how much will the tail off be. Also, the new variants are causing concerns because vaccine efficacy is sort of going down, the prime boost, which is a 2-shot regimen, and then you give up a 3rd shot, which is now called the booster. That's holding up, but that's causing concern to investors. And then finally, there's stuff like IP concerns, competition from Pfizer, where Pfizer seems to, and BioNTech have kind of taken a step forward on the commercial side. So all of that is leading to, I would say, a lack of visibility in 2022 and 2023. And the pipeline is still not there to kind of support, the COVID-19 franchise. So I think because of that, the stock has been kind of range bound, right? So since it kind of has come down after the second quarter call, it's been range bound in that 250 to 350 range. But that's essentially what's been going on.
Hartaj, do you think the clock is ticking on Moderna to come out with the next thing on this platform? I know they've been developing a flu vaccine on the mRNA platform. How much time do you think investors will give them to start to roll out more products?
Julie, I think that's honestly, in some ways, going into 2022, the critical question, right? So we keep on looking at the pipeline. But, we have what I would call a bullish neutral holding, and that's, our rating on the stock. And we just kind of gently remind people, of course, we're not, we don't have a buy or outperformance, but we gently remind them, even as a neutral, that this is one of only 2 large-scale mRNA players out there, right? So yes, we are waiting for the pipeline. The second half of this coming year, 2022, we'll probably see some material catalysts, maybe earlier, but most likely in the second half, flu, cytomegalovirus. But there's a scarcity value that's attached to assets that really, there's nothing else like Moderna out there other than BioNTech, right? So not from a strategic or an M&A perspective, it's that the platform that can be rolled out and the future revenues that, long-term shareholders, people who want to own it more than 1 or 2 years, can own, those people will support it. So yes, I agree with you. There is some pressure on the pipeline, but I do think that scarcity value of their platform, its scalability and its uniqueness is something that long-term investors are supporting and holding firm by.
And Hartaj, you just wrote a note for looking out to next year, and you're seeing an extremely volatile environment for COVID-19 vaccine makers, but it looks like you're favoring Gilead. Why is that?
Look, so, Gilead's remdesivir, which hardly ever gets talked about, is really, the only drug that's actually worked against, is working against all variants, right? And yes, its clinical results have not been, spectacular, but it saved the healthcare system tremendous amounts of money. It reduces the time that a patient spends in the hospital, by up to a third. And, when it's $30,000, $40,000 per patient per visit into the hospital for COVID-19, that adds up over tens of thousands of people. So, they just had a phase 3 trial in earlier stage patients that was successful. So we expect remdesivir, use to continue. And they have a couple of critical oncology readouts coming out in January, February. If those work, I think this is really the stock to own, both from a COVID-19 perspective and a non-COVID-19 perspective. You kind of might get the best of both worlds with Gilead in the next few months.
And Hartaj, we also have not seen the end of new vaccines, right? Especially in the U.S. market. We could be seeing a Novavax vaccine here. You highlight Inovio in your note as well. Will we see as much upside for these new players? And conversely, will we also see maybe some damage for the existing players on the market once these new guys come out?
Right. So, Julie, look, here's the thing about new vaccines. And, biotech is still an idiosyncratic industry in the sense that we're 1/10, 1/15 the size of tech, right? So people are still just getting to learn it. Think about mRNA vaccines and Inovio. They have a DNA vaccine, which we believe, that platform is very analogous to mRNA. Going forward, you were just talking about electric cars, right? The Department of Health, the government looking into purchasing them. It's not just that the electric cars are more carbon neutral, it's that they're more flexible. There's a scalability to them in terms of manufacturing. There's an ease of manufacturing there compared to, gas-fired cars. It's the same thing in biotech. The mRNA vaccines, the DNA vaccines are very scalable. They're very flexible. You can get new vaccines to new variants within a few months. The older platforms, we don't cover Novavax, we don't cover the other companies. Those will struggle. They will still have a niche because, in a planet of 8 billion people, you need all types of platforms. But I do think the mRNA vaccines, that if Inovio's DNA vaccine is successful in its phase 3 trial in the first half of next year, those will really be the clear winners from a speed, scalability, and efficiency perspective, in infectious diseases.